What is going on, everyone? My name's Boyd, and I'm back with some more Age of Mythology, the Titans action. Sporting on the left side of the map in the red color, playing as Ra. His name is Magic. His opponent today in the blue color, playing as Zeus. His name is Squash. The map is Tundra. It's the best of 3 that these guys played very, very recently. I'm talking like a couple of days ago, if that. So if you guys have seen these games live, you put your mouth shut and you close it and you enjoy the reimagination of this game. If you haven't seen this game and you don't know who these players are, let me just tell you about these players for half a minute. Squash is one of those guys who's been around for such a long time, playing at the top level for so long, but has never really played in any real tournaments. And he is such a strong player that everyone just sort of assumes that he is like the best or one of the best. And I'm really interested to see how he goes under some real pressure here from the likes of Magic. Someone who needs no introduction, but you'll get one. Magic has been playing this game since before I started playing the game. Has been an expert since I started playing the game. Has been a 2K player since I started playing the game. And essentially has won nearly every tournament he's participated in and has solidified himself in the AOM community as a force to be reckoned with. In the same breath of Magyar, of Mr. is Magic's name. He is one of the big 3 M's. There's a couple of other players that are actually in that breath who don't have M in their name, but it just sounds good, you know? Magic, Mr. Magyar, it sounds good. But the map's Tundra. It's Magic's Ra here, going with his strongest civilization. Ra versus Zeus on Tundra. Let's see what Squash is going to do. There's a couple of options for Zeus in this matchup. I quite like the idea of semi-fast mythics off of 2 town centers here with Zeus. Though against a top player like Magic, it's going to be real tough to get that to happen. And on an open map like Tundra, it's probably not going to be a thing. So there can be some metagaming you can do here with Zeus. You can go for 3 town centers immediately. So the standard build order for Zeus is like a 430 advance, get your second town center, and you get going. But you can actually delay the advance time by 3 villages, and you can get all 3 town centers out at the same time at 5:15. So you can be building a town center here, a town center here at 5:15, and be able to produce villages consistently from it. It's a very boomy build order, and it plays around the fact that your opponent is probably going to go for 2 town center tar. The problem is, on a map like this, that Ra can go for a Bast here. Ra can go for a bunch of different strategies. Even Ra can go 2 town center tar and still do enough damage to beat that 3 town centers if you miss macro it. So we will see how these guys go, what their strategies are going to be. We already see Magic throwing up an initial wall here to delay any sort of Athena rush. The gold line very, very exposed here for Magic. In fact, a 2 town center Athena rush here would be incredibly strong, or even just a straight Athena rush. Come in here, bash through the wall. Odysseus sits on this gold line with the help of Toxotes behind it, pushes this off. If we check the map out, there's a really nice large gold mine here for Magic. So if he does go for a second town center on this location here, he'll have access to it, but he has not spotted it. His goat scouting saw this Tundra tree here, and generally speaking, if you see a forest, there isn't going to be a close gold mine, but this forest is so small that it's actually allowed this to be a thing here. So we will see what Magic's doing. He's already thrown up the box of doom. Shifting sands into this box really shuts down the Athena rush of Zeus. And I think that's because essentially all you do is you just, whenever you see the Jason Odysseus Minotaur, you click on those, you shift them into the box, and that's immediately going to be 500, 600 resources for a shifting sands, and they all die because the 2 town centers, the 2 sentry towers, watchtowers, plus the town center. Tars already coming up for Magic. Squash, on the other hand, is going through Athena. He's got his forward temple up. Has he sent villagers forward? He's got forward villagers going down. Military academy, archery range. This is a balls to the wall Athena rush here from Squash. We'll see if he can make this work or what Magic is going to be going for. Magic throwing up his armory straight away. No attempt at building a barracks just yet. We see the catastrophes coming in to check this location up. We've got double military academy and then archery range. Not sure if you can... or maybe Squash mismacroed this a little bit here, which is why he's throwing down the second military academy. Generally speaking, you can only afford the 2 military buildings if you go for a 430, but maybe Squash went a little bit later, so he's going for the 3 military buildings, but does delay your villagers to get back onto the resources, and things are not quite as efficient. But now we will be seeing Squash going after this gold mine. He's got Restoration, he's got Bolt. So he can cause a lot of havoc here on this gold mine. We see the Pharaoh, we see the Priest, we see the Wadget coming over. Hit that Minotaur back before the Odysseus come. As soon as you see that Odysseus come in to hit the Priest, that's when you go for the Shifting Sands, if you can. The Minotaur sitting back. I like this from Squash to sit forward with these 2 units here. Magic does decide in the end to Shifting Sands these. This is a really smart play here. Both of these units will be falling to the Watchtowers, but Squash does hold on to his Minotaur for the time being. Thank you so much for the Prime It Leans. Appreciate that one, my friend. Welcome, welcome. And, oh, Squash escapes. There was a gap in the box. How? How is there a gap here? They overlap. This game, sometimes I don't know about this game. And now Squash has got nearly full HP Odysseus, half HP or quarter HP Jason left, and there's no Shifting Sands. There's no attempt at barracks here, but this is the correct play from Magic to rush Heroic Age here, rush out Chariot Arch. As you can see, he's already got 7 villagers on wood. Put 4 villagers onto food, try and get the gold to get the Migdol Stronghold up. When you get to the Heroic Age, if you get pushed off this gold mine, you throw up a Migdol Stronghold here next to the town center, next to the tower. You put villagers over onto wood, you build a market, you trade wood, you get Chariot Archers back, you get this gold mine back. Nice micro from Magic already, but nice micro from Squash as well. We do see that the Jason gets sniped there, but Squash is going after this location. He's taking down the house. He wants to kill this watchtower, make it as easy for him as possible. Magic not with the resources to get his Migdol up at all just yet. So Squash making some really nice movements here into the base of Magic, who has not quite secured this watchtower very well at all. Probably should have gone with the wall segments around this tower, but he didn't. We see the marker going up for Magic. Obviously, the correct play. He needs to get a little bit more gold to throw up a Migdol Stronghold. We see the Temple about to go down. The Pitsukos going to be doing some damage to the Minotaur. Gets bonus damage against that Minotaur. Needs to focus on the units, though. No micro from Magic just yet. And finally, coming back, we see the Odysseus coming in. Squash still has a bolt. Probably not a bad idea to use that bolt. But there's the Migdol Stronghold going up, and it's just out of line of sight, it looks like, for Squash. And he does notice the Migdol coming up. He needs to stop taking down houses here. Magic is obviously very low on population at this point, so losing all these houses is not good. I tell a lie. Magic's only 35 or 45. These houses getting picked off is going to be like a pestilence on the entirety of Magic's economy here. He's trying to throw up houses in the back. The Migdol Stronghold's out. Squash going after the Migdol now. He's got a restoration if he wants to use it. He can just sit under this location. Nice rain here from Magic to block the restoration. No medium upgrades for Squash, which I do think is a big mistake from Squash. Whenever you go for these big buildings, like against the town center or against the Migdol Stronghold, cut production on the military academies. Get medium infantry. They do so much more damage because it's not just plus 10% damage. It's actually plus the 10%, and then you have to times that all by 2. So you've actually got an extra 1.6 damage on the hoplites against buildings when you get medium upgrades, and then you add all that up and you start like, oh wow, I'm getting an extra 10 damage a second plus 10, like maybe like 11 12 damage a second, whatever it is. You guys tell me whatever the math is, but exactly. But it's a lot more damage than you'd think on the buildings. And now for some reason Squash is taking the gas off here. He still has restoration. You see the second Migdol Stronghold coming up for Magic. Looks like Magic sold even more wood in order to get that one up. But the second Migdol come on, and this doesn't even secure this gold mine here, as now Squash is taking down this wall. And now the Migdol's back up. There's no real way for Squash to come in and do a town center takedown here. We might see him go for it. Who knows? We see more food coming in. Magic starting to build some chariot archers. He's only got one. He can't very well buy wood at this point. He needs to get villagers onto this gold mine. And this is really, really bad from Squash. He doesn't have an eye on this gold mine. Magic can sneak this gold mine for just a little bit. And literally any amount of gold Magic gets is gigantic at this point. There's the medium infantry coming through for Squash. The gold villagers are gathering. Squash needs to have something on this so he can prevent this. So this is 14 villagers on this gold mine gathering gold at around about 1 a second. So 14 gold a second. So all of this time here is so much gold in the bank here for Magic to get more military units, and Squash is just allowing him to come back. There's the locust. Oh, unfortunate Michael there. I thought if he didn't touch any of it, he only would have lost 2 villagers. These ones unfortunately moved back. But only 4 villager kills with the locust is good. You got to be happy about that one. We do see that Magic is on the gold mine and Squash making his move forward to push this one back. We see Chariot Archer raids coming through against the Hoplite Toxotes. These raids are really tough to defend, but Magic not microing his cavalry there. Nice play from Squash, able to deflect that raid. We see where's that rock gone? Looks like the rock is retreating, and maybe the Patsukos was picked off. Now the Hoplites not able to push in. Leave the Odysseus, the Toxotes in here. Alt S. Force the Chariot Archers to come out and fight them. We see the villagers getting sniped here by Squash, but Magic is putting the pressure on with these units here, killing more and more of Squash's villagers here. Lots of Magic's villagers are falling at this point, though. Still have one very low HP. Gets that villager kill there. And he is in a decent position. The question is, where does Squash go now? The answer is generally, whenever you're Athena rushing, you're in one town center Athena rushing, the right play is, if you've got Hunt, is to go Heroic Age. Go Heroic Age through Dionysus, then you cast Bronze and you win the game with a Bronze push with the Restoration. And generally speaking, that'll win most games, but there's just so many good raids here from Magic. Squash not throwing up any walls because he just expected to win here. But it just has not worked, and it's almost like Squash is just way too all in at this point. The Chariot Archers in the base of Squash right now. Gets another villager kill over there. This Chariot Archer over here can just sit in the back, just laying siege. He gets another villager kill just about, and there it goes before a Chariot Archer, or a Toxotes comes in. But maybe the Chariot Archer wins this fight as well. It's going to be very, very close. And it does look like it's almost an even trade. The Chariot Archer does live with 6 HP, but was already low HP. More Chariot Archers leaving Magic's base, going after Squash. And at this point, how many Hoplites are left? Only 5 Hoplites are left. 6 Hoplites if you can't count the one in Squash's base. So Squash has got no siege ability to push in and pick off these units. But he does have all the Toxotes. Toxotes can come in, attack this gold mine. But Magic is just trading wood at this point. What's the trade? He's getting 50 gold for his wood here, which is arguably better than what Squash is getting right now after dealing with all these raids. This is going very, very well for Magic at this point, even without this gold mine, which just goes to show how very, very good Ra can deal with these sort of Athena rushes if you allow him to. And the Chariot Archers forcing Squash back again, getting more snipes. This is so many extra resources in the positive for Magic. His micro here, his control has been incredible so far. Now Magic's got 2 raiding groups here. You can hit the gold mine, you can hit the wood line. The farms are safe. The villagers on the food are safe. If we check out, I wish I could check out how many villagers are alive. If we go into the post game, go to the timeline, and then go to the civilian units, you can see that Squash is actually below Magic on the village account right now, which is absolutely huge considering the amount of early pressure, the town center being idle due to being housed, and everything else that's happened in this game. So Squash is going to have a difficult task for him to win this game. He has gotten out Hippocons, though, a very good counter to the Chariot Archers. However, you do need medium cavalry. Chariot Archers, because of their damage and their speed and the fact that they kind of come out of the Migdol already with the stats equivalent to medium archers, does mean that unupgraded Hippocon almost do not trade well against the chariots. And we keep seeing that these chariot archers are able to keep sniping Toxotes in the back, which is absolutely huge, before running away. And the Hippocon only have 5.5 speed, which is exactly the same speed as the chariot archers, as the Ra chariot archers. And now Magic going after these gold villagers here. This is going to be huge, as we're seeing Squash having to retreat here. He's probably going to have to cast Restoration in order to continue in this game, which is not something you want to be doing. Villagers back onto this gold mine, moving over onto this top gold mine. There's a hoplite here, but Squash in that moment does realize that his Athena Rush has fizzled out here. And that's going to be the game there, as Squash realizes he cannot defend this gold mine. He doesn't have the army to compete with the Ra army. The town center is coming. This gold mine is not going to be able to be cut. And Magic just played a little bit too well here for Squash. Squash had this game, though. Squash left the base of Magic for no reason here. He had control of this gold mine. He allowed Magic to get back onto this gold mine, which is enough for him to start training Chariot Archers decently. What potentially could have been possible here is when you see the armory, when you see the heroic age, chuck that stable down when you see the heroic age come out, and then stop building the hoplites. Just build Hippocon. Keep pushing into the base of the Ra player, and then when the Chariot Archers go, that's when you start sending your Hippocon after them, because while they are Ra Chariot Archers with 5.5 speed, the Hippocon will be able to deny the raids while the rest of your army can control this gold mine, and you'd be in a really, really good spot and probably winning this game. But Magic somehow manages to clutch this one out. If you enjoyed this game, please consider hitting the follow on the Twitch. If you're on the YouTube, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next game.